Okay, good morning traders and welcome to the Bookmap All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap traders and welcome. And we'll be going through the order flow analysis, live analysis here like we do every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. I'm Bruce, I'll be your host and I lead the trader education here at Bookmap. We have a variety of traders here. We have a whole team of traders. I'll show you that in just a minute. I've been trading for about 15 years in a variety of markets. I'm the order flow specialist here and with expertise in order flow and market microstructure. You can reach out to me at Bruce at Bookmap, number 3993, and then at Flow Orders, my Twitter handle. Let's go through some disclosures and we'll get going. All Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so let's jump in. Let's take a look here at Bookmap. Good morning, BBM. And Deborah, good morning. So we've had some days off due to the U.S. holiday, and we had non-farm this morning, so we can see the volatility right here in front of us. Some beautiful price action and order flow. Look at the high liquidity up here. Where did price go? Boom, right into it. A little bit above it, and then boom, it just fell out of the sky here. Went a little bit lower here, and then we started to see some support here or some demand at 43 or 44.30, and then we've just been back and forth in here, right? So now we're going to cover this event here. Now this is, you can use this for your initial balance. A lot of traders like to trade initial balance or the first hour, or use that as a standard for understanding what might be happening next, and trading around those data points, or maybe the first half hour or 45 minutes or whatever it is. This is basically the same thing. The concept is that a big event has occurred, and that would be the open. So you can see it here actually. Here's the open at 9:30, and you can see the volume really picks up here. Hey, look at the dots, look at the size of them, look at the bars, and look at the size of them. So there's a lot of volume that has traded here. This is what traders are looking at from the cash open for the first hour or so. But this is even more volume here. So this is a bigger event. This is one of the biggest events in the market. Is your non-farm payroll, your FOMC, that is the biggest economic event, scheduled event in the markets, and non-farm is next. Now you can see how the price action from non-farm has dominated. All we've done is bash back and forth within this price action here after the release of the data. I don't know if the data is good or not. We won't go into that in interpretation of the data. The number was less than expected. That should be good. But I also noted that or saw that the wages have they're still up more than expected. So the market, this is what the market thinks of it, is telling us right here. And this is what we're going to read and we're going to put into action here by understanding the behavior of these players and how they're interpreting this event here. Right, so right now we can see that we can't break above this high here or this high liquidity here. Right, so that's what we're reading in here. Now it looks like they're trying. It looks like the market is telling us that participants in this auction, they are starting to buy. Okay, and look where they're buying. This is important. They're buying above this price action in here, and this swing in particular, right? And this is the cash open here. This is another event, important event. We're above it, right? So the next area to test is up in this, where this big transaction and liquidity took place, and also the swing, right? So up here. And you can see that this is also relates to something else important here, 44.50. Okay, the traders look at, especially larger players, are looking at these round numbers and dealing around those large numbers. And there's no coincidence about that. You can see that it's just a little bit above it here, around 41.5 or something like that. And they got their fill. They got what they wanted. They did not leave the order book. And in this event here, look how dark the liquidity got right before the number. This is how you get volatility. There's not a lot of traders willing to provide liquidity. So the liquidity is up here, and it trades right into it. All right, so price bashes around when there's a lack of liquidity, but we do need the aggressors though, and that's the other side of the coin that's needed here. The aggressors need to push that price around, and they can very easily when there's no liquidity here. This is like air. So for example, if let's suppose the spread was, I'll just go through an example. Let's suppose the buying was, let's just use a line here. This is the best bid, and this is the best offer up here. So if I hit market buy, there's no one in the way here to take the other side of that trade. They're up here. So I'm going to move the market with very little effort up to here. And then it'll transact up here. Now, do I want that? Probably not. But I'm actually moving the market. And this is how the markets move. And we can understand that that concept when we look at very, very small price levels in here. You can see the spread in here by a tick or two. And then the market buys up here and the market sells down here. The red dots are the market sells, the green dots are the market buy. The green line here is the best bid. And then the red line is the best offer. Now, I know this is basic stuff here, but we're just going through the basics and we're understanding how the auction process works, right? You need to have these players in here. Without it, technical analysis is meaningless. Okay? Therefore, it is the behavior of the players that matters in here. They're the ones creating these patterns in here and understanding what the majority here think of this market. Okay, so right now we're reading it right now. Well, we see buyers above this area. That's good. That's bullish. We haven't come back down here yet. However, we have not broken above this swing or our line that we marked up here yet either. Okay, so let's take a look now. We're in between this range, but look at the buying coming in now and look at the buyers here. All right, so if we get a few more buyers up here, then we should trade up into this liquidity and maybe above it here. Okay, that's our level that we're looking at. But let's read the auction in here. So we're getting our buyers, but there's limit sell orders right in front here. All right, so that means that these buyers have to trade through these limit sell orders here in order to move price higher. Or maybe these guys here that want to sell with their supply here in the auction, maybe they pull it away. Maybe they flip. Maybe they show more demand on the bid here. And if we get green dots, we can easily trade up into these areas here. Okay? Or another scenario here is we may just get lots of big green dots and they'll trade into and through it, no problem, if there is enough demand with market buy orders here. Okay? And that's what we're reading right now. You can see that scenario is starting to play out. Okay, so we got our green dots here. Okay, now see how it's dark here though? So sellers could, if someone comes in and hits market sell, they can move this market down to here pretty easily. Right? So beware here. So what we want to see instead for something that is more likely to unfold is if we see demand here in the limit order book with limit buy orders we get green dots and they pull here on the offer. Okay, that's the best scenario that we're looking for. Then we get our green dots, and then we'll get this move like this, okay, up into 52, maybe higher, 53, 54. All right, so these are just market mechanics in here and the basics. Okay, and we're understanding this auction and we're understanding the supply and demand and what traders think about it. And this is how we can read order flow. Right now, we're reading it at this very small level in here, but it's an important level due to higher time frames as well. Okay, looking at what we covered earlier, and the non-farm as well. And then, what did we have something higher probability in here? Not really. Not really. We saw the buyers come in here, but we were like, no, there's not a whole lot of demand on the bid. They're not really pulling here. We're starting to find sellers, and here's starting to what's starting to unfold is we're getting the sellers hit into this area, or coming close to it at least, that we mentioned earlier. Right? So that's why we go through these scenarios, and then we can make a better decision up at this level if we see something that meets what we've studied and we know gives us higher probability for an outcome. Okay. Now you can see this scenario did not unfold, the opposite did. Now we've traded not only to 47.5, we've traded down even further. Okay. So anyway, these market mechanics, it does not matter what market you are looking at. It is the same. Okay. Supply and demand and auction process here. It is all an auction. And we're just reading it here, and we veered away from it. We were thinking, well, this is not exactly what we're looking for. So this is how you can make a better trading decision. All right, so now let's also apply this to other markets and take a look here. So look at what's happening now. We're trading back down to this 45 level where that demand came in, and we saw those green dots here. Okay, and still a bit lower here. All right. So anyway, what's going on now with price is discovery. It is trying to find supply. Okay? Or I'm sorry, is trying to find demand. The supply is coming in with the red dots here, and also on the offer. See how they're on the offer here? Right? The demand is down here at 40. Okay? That's it. It's as simple as that. Okay? We saw the demand earlier at this, I don't know, 47.5. Then we see it here at 46, and now we're looking at 40. Okay? And we're looking for price discovery to continue until we see something different. Now, there's different variations that may occur down here as well. So, for example, maybe they pull that liquidity here and add it higher. Or maybe other players coming in front run and want to buy in front of it here. Maybe we exhaust here by the supply with the market sell orders in here. And then maybe we find market buys. Right? So understanding, again, even in these areas here, we don't have to trade down here. Okay? You see how that demand came in here? Look at the reaction. You just can't make this stuff up. And if you don't have the access to the liquidity, this is what it looks like. You have no idea why this is moving here. That gives you more insight here. It's completely, I mean, you're not even looking at the volume. You might be looking at a footprint chart, but likely you're looking at something like this, some sort of candlestick. And in fact, we can we'll just take the volume dots and volume. We can leave the volume bars on. Take the dots off. We'll take best bid and offer off, and we'll make this a. To be fair, we'll make this a candlestick of, I don't know, a minute or even 30 seconds. Right? Let's go a minute. Right? You're getting aggregated data within a minute period. Every minute you're getting 4 data points: open, high, low, close. Everything that happened in between you have no access to, and you have no clue where the volume is transacting. You have it in the bars here, but you don't know where it's transacting because you don't have all of the pieces here. You don't have all of the data. Okay? And this is the view that most of us have been looking at for years. Something like this, right? So how we can use Bookmap to our advantage is to look at the streaming price action with best bid and offer. Let's take the candlesticks off. Let's look at the volume dots, and let's turn the heat map on. Okay, so now we have the aggressors, and we have look at the bid in here. They're bidding up. Okay, so we were looking for 40 earlier until we see something different. Well, this is something different, right? So now it's just kind of retraced back up here. Let's take a look though. Okay, so this is another volume event in here. Okay, the volume started up here on the sell side. You can see it in the bars. You can see it in the dots, and it broke and it went down here. Sellers are in control from this point onward. This is a pullback here. Okay, back into the range, if you will, of this price action, of this drop, right? So now, are we anticipating a move back up here? Not right now. Okay, I mean, look at this is good. We've seen the volume here, or the liquidity here at these levels. Okay, but a little bit higher would be better, because else we can just kind of move down to 44 and go back and forth in here. Okay, so again, we're looking for this confluence of events. We want to see more on the bid. We want to see them pull on the offer, and we want to see green dots. Then, if we get that scenario, then the likelihood of trading up into 49 liquidity is much more probable. Okay. So otherwise, you can see here we have some supply here, and we have sellers. We have exhaustion here. This is exhaustion. Okay, lack of buying. This is just the best offer up here, and we have lack of buying. So the sellers were able to drop it. Okay, so let's see if they can still drop it and down into 44, and see how they pulled a little bit there at 44. Okay, and let's see if is there still more sellers. Can they trade through 44? Well, 44 seem to want to buy here, and that's what we're reading. Okay, and the sellers, the aggressive sellers, didn't take them on. Okay, now we're getting another retest here. It looks like there's selling pressure. They're going to take them on. Now let's see them trade through it, and let's see if they can trade down into 43 and maybe 42. Okay, 44 transacted. Now, guys, I know that this is a repeat for most of you, but there's some newer traders in here that were asking me about this, so I wanted to go through these details in here. All right, now this can be applied to all markets. It really doesn't matter. There's different markets that trade in different ways. So for example, let's cover a stock. I'll open up a stock, and I also want to cover Bitcoin as well. All right, so let's take a look at NVIDIA here. It's been moving. All right, so same three elements on this chart. Areas of high liquidity. Now look how this trades differently. Look at 9:30 at the cash open. Look at how these larger players come in and park their liquidity at these levels here. They are advertising in the auction. This is where they are willing to deal if buyers, aggressive buyers, want to make the transaction into the sellers. This is where they are. Okay, and you can see the buying demand in here was pretty strong. Traded into, took a pullback, traded up to, and again through here, pulled back, through here, pulled back, and now we're starting to see that see the size of the dots here. Well, look at the size of the dots in here. Not quite as big. It's still green. That's good. And the majority of it is green, and that's good. But just it's not the same kind of demand as it was through this process here in the auction. And we're starting to see some sellers now, which we didn't see any or very few red dots in here. Now we're starting to see some. Okay, but it's not a whole lot right now. So buyers are still firmly in control here. Good morning, McLoco. I miss you. I covered you a bunch of times, in particular going through cumulative volume delta. In fact, you can see McLoco is a huge fan of the cumulative volume delta CVD. We have it here in NVIDIA, and it's giving us some pretty good readout right now. Here we're making higher highs. Well, cumulative volume delta is making higher highs, but look at the lows in here. Okay, you know, there's still like all of this selling in here is not very much. Okay, so it's really telling us that there's even some divergence in here. Okay, so this is just buy minus sell aggressors plotted over time. And then you can see that this move to the upside here, well, this is that buying in here, cumulative over time. And look at the selling here. Now, how come this didn't make a lower low? It made a lower low here, right? Below this swing right here. It didn't even come close to it here. Why? Because there is more aggressive buying in here than there is selling. And that's the divergence. Okay, now we're starting to see sellers come in. All right, so, and look at the lack of buying here and not so much buying here. Okay, so where are sellers likely to move it? Well, let's see, 426, maybe 425. Right, so anyway, same auction process here between these three elements of price action, aggressor transactions, which are the green and red dots, and then the liquidity, the other side of the trade, limit buy and sell orders. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. And when I cover the same thing, let's just start with the price action here. Okay, so here is our event, non-farm, had a pretty big effect also on Bitcoin, as you can see right here. And then, well, just want to cover with you too, this is the liquidation indicator. And this is something that if you're trading cryptocurrencies, you really should take a look into. It's like our stops and icebergs, or at least like our stops for the futures markets, but it's even more powerful. And this market in particular, or cryptocurrencies in particular, it's important to have access to this information because these markets are not as based on, you know, they're not as tied into the community. So basically, a lot of times what we'll get in cryptocurrencies is this sloshing around of just liquidating one group on one side and then going to the other side of a range or price structure and liquidating on the other side. And that's what's driving the price action in a lot of cases. Okay, so different markets trade differently. The process and the mechanics are the same. All right, so let's just go through a quick analysis in here. And guys, I'll get to your questions here. And so we'll get back into the futures or stocks, whatever. I want to cover this, though, with Bitcoin. All right, so let's take these elements off the chart again. And let's look at the price action. Okay. And liquidations. We'll take that off for a moment too. All right, so the price action is telling us a lot about what the behavior of traders think in here. So we can see these areas of back and forth in here where price was valued here until sellers came in and moved it and explored down below here. And basically, this is what I'm talking about with the liquidations in here. Explored down here, probably knocked a lot of people out, liquidated their accounts, and then came back into the range in here and sloshed around until buyers came back in and moved it, and probably likely caused a lot of liquidation events up above in here. right? And you can see it's already pulled back into and below that swing into the range here and tested this area and went slightly below it too here. And now we're seeing buying activity come back in, right? It is breaking out of this little range here. Okay, so where is it likely to go? Just based on the price structure, we'd look for it to probably come up to probably be right around in here. It's kind of a range, but this little area in here, and we would look for buyers if there's enough buyers demand in here to trade up into here. Okay, and that's just based on price structure here. And now maybe this little breakout of this little range fails and we come back into the range, into the other side of the range. And we don't know. Looks like that's what's happening. This is what we were talking about before, the liquidation events that are going to take place in here. And we'll turn that on in just a minute. Okay, so you can see this breakout here, that when we're looking for it to come up to here, failed. Now watch it trade to the other side here and liquidate people out on this side. All right, so now to confirm that, let's turn on some of the elements here, and we'll look at the heat map, and we'll look at the volume dots, and then let's turn on the liquidation events as well. Okay, guys, I'm going to close NVIDIA for now, if you don't mind. I'm having a couple of memory issues here, so I'm going to close some symbols. We'll have the ES and Bitcoin. All right. So here we go. Now, did we get our liquidations down here? No. Funny enough, we didn't. All right. So let's see if we're going to read this down here. The behavior here is we're looking for liquidations to drive price a bit lower here. We're not getting them yet. And I don't see any liquidation events in here. See how we got 39K here, or 8 different events in this little area here. Price traded there. It went back and forth in here. 3K here, another 3K up here. Nothing up here on this little false breakout. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, price is going to have to go a little further to liquidate some people. Right, we're going to have to get some more volume trapped in here somehow. And we can look at some of these traps. Now, why are we covering traps? Because it is the trapped traders in here that are going to move the market. Okay? Because if you're a seller down in here, suppose that's your scenario, you sold down here, your position is now long. It's not short. Okay, in essence, because what you have to do now is you have to buy. You are now a buyer. You're not a seller any longer. You sold already. You are now a buyer. Well, where are you going to be compelled or forced to buy? You're going to, as it goes against you. And where will you place your stops? Where are people placing their stops? Maybe up here. Well, look, there's 609 coins up here waiting to take your stop. Okay, so let's see if this event unfolds here. And let's see, does it trade up into this? Now it's 581 coins up here. Does it trade up into it? Do we start to see liquidations? That would be the likely scenario. Okay. Now the market's dynamic. Look, this guy pulled that liquidity here. Especially the crypto coins are very dynamic. You see a lot of algorithmic activity in pulling and adding of liquidity all the time, and more so than other instruments. Okay, Steve, so first time here, welcome. Repetition is good. Thanks, BBM. Yeah, Floyd, not just the algo shut off 5 minutes before the event, everybody. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to take the risk. The only people that didn't were the ones that took the risk, and it's these guys up here. And it was just massive. Let's just zoom in here. It's massive liquidity. And they got actually pretty aggressive in here. This is their behavior in here. High liquidity in here and some front running. Doesn't even trade into it, but these guys wanted to trade, so they got more aggressive and they lowered their offers, and then they transacted. Okay, you can see the transactions take place right here. You can verify it. Boom, right here. Okay, and it went a bit higher into this liquidity here, and a little bit higher more still, and then it never made it up to 55 up here. Okay, this is one of the order flow patterns that you can start to look for. Here's buyers, which is good. You would look for it to continue here. Pullback, now not much of a pullback, just a few ticks. Retest, no buying. So that's odd. We found buyers earlier, and we're retesting here, and we're getting no buyers at all. Well, sellers read that, and they come in, and then you can see it trades back down into this liquidity, and then continues. Well, that was enough for then, and it continues on. Here's another retest up here. Now this is going to be a stop run in here, oh, I'm sorry, it's not a stop run. We have stops right in front of us here, and it is not. Right, but anyway, it's a sweep of the order book up into 53.5 here, and it hits this liquidity, and that's it. Stopped it right in its tracks. Okay, and that's been it really. Okay, some back and forth in here. It retested a bunch of times and never got any higher. Right, so let's go back to Bitcoin here. Okay, and we're looking for these potential liquidation events in here, and all it's done so far is it did bash around between this range in here. This is where it tested here, and then also here. Okay, these two little areas, this little swing here, and then here as well. All right, now let's read the auction down here, and let's see what's going on. Okay, so this range in here seems to be where, for at least this time period, price seems to be pretty happy. It's accepted. Okay, so here come the buyers again, trying to lift this market, and then we're looking for them to try and test to the other side of the range here. All right, now let's read the auction in here. Do we have enough buyers in here? Not a whole lot, a little bit in here. Okay, we need to see more than that. We're just up to the middle of the range here, and that's it. So far we can see that this is not enough buying. Okay, in fact, we're finding more sellers. Now, if we can get sellers below this little breakout range of this little range right here, okay, we're going to watch that, and we're going to look for sellers in here. And if we get enough, we're going to look for some red dots. Then we look for them to trade it back down to the bottom of this little range. Okay, so it's the same strategy. It's just a very, very fractal view of the bigger picture here. And I want to cover this here. There's two different things going on here about the difference between supply and demand versus support and resistance. Okay, support and resistance is based off the price action, the swings. Okay, we assume that this is support down here. Price is being supported somehow. Okay, now you can see how the buyers are coming in, testing this, looking for a break now, and back up into this area here. Okay, let's see if we get enough buyers to do that. And why am I looking for a break now? We talked about this. I'm looking for a break above this little range here, okay, above this kind of 318 or so. Okay, back up to maybe like 350 or so here. Okay, anyone want to take a stab at it? Why are we looking for a break up to here now? Okay, it's done the other side of this range, but looking for a bit more. No? No, okay, no takers. Well, let's turn the heat map on and take a look here. But we have some trap volume down here. This is why. These are those compelled sellers that are now buyers. Okay, and we're looking for a liquidation event. Okay, back up into this area here. Okay, now the question is this really enough selling in here? It looks like it. Looks like it to me. So we look for these buyers to come in again here, right now, and for them to lift the offer up into this 350 area here. And I'm looking for some liquidations here, right? That's where we identified some of the trap volume in here, and we're looking for the event to unfold. Now, another thing to consider, now, if we get this, if there's enough buyers in here, which means these trap sellers become buyers, right? If we get enough in here, now, how do you take your profits in some of these areas? Let's see. First off, we need for this event to unfold. Now, how do you take some of your profits in here? Well, depends on how many trap sellers are and how compelled they are to buy. You may take some off up here and just be happy with that up at 350. Okay? And then move on to the next setup. Or maybe you're looking for a bigger break up into this liquidity or this area, or maybe even this swing up here. Okay? At 30,000, what is it? 430 or so up here. Okay? So that's what we're looking for. Now, here's our move. Okay, it is breaking up to the swing. Okay, and we don't have a whole lot of buying in here. It's not a whole lot. It's really just kind of bashing around in here. It did it though, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, so here, if you're looking for that move, if you see that down here and you start to see the buying coming in, take some profit off. Now, it depends on your time frame that you're trading. Okay, but this is something to consider for a strategy and something for you to go back and to look at and test. And basically, prove me wrong. Go back and what I mean by that is for you to make it work for you. Okay, prove that it works for you, not take my word for it. And this is how you can build a trading plan. And if you look at enough instances of this and you start to build some confidence on it and you start to take some profits and minimize your losses, then you've got a trading strategy. Okay? And one event does not matter. It is all of the events together. It is the cumulative that matters in here. Now, I still haven't seen any liquidations. I'm looking for them. Now, I might have some filters on the liquidation indicator. I do. Okay, so I'm looking for a bigger event. 3K was filled in this area here. Let's leave it as is and just keep the filter on and look for a bigger liquidation event. But I think we got enough sellers in here to get this short squeeze and liquidation event, right? So that's what we're looking for here. Any questions on this? Anyone have any questions? Okay, what we're doing is we're identifying in the price structure the behavior of specific traders and where they might be positioned and where they might unwind their position. Okay, and in particular with cryptocurrencies, because this is a lot of times what we see, just liquidation events on one side and retesting to an area, and then liquidations on the other side and retesting to that area. Okay, for the ES, it is the same idea. Now, this is a different market and it's used differently. Okay, this is a very important market worldwide, and we're looking at stops and icebergs in here. Basically, stops are, they could be liquidation events, but likely not. No, I'm sorry, they are not liquid. Someone might be getting close to liquidating their account, but yeah, a stop is a stop order here that is transacting. Okay, as it's not necessarily a liquidation. Okay, so it is different, but the concept is the same. Okay, and look at this, price is still exploring higher here, and we're still not seeing any liquidations yet. That's kind of funny. It's kind of odd. Still looking for it though, but maybe we exhaust out up here. Okay, so this is why we continue or consider taking some profits in these areas, because maybe we don't get that squeeze to the upside here. Maybe there's no more buying up here. Maybe these guys are holding on. Maybe they're in longer position. Who knows? Okay, but we're looking for it. If we don't get it and then we get exhaustion in here, watch how the sellers will come in and they'll move it right back down to probably here, where those buyers came in initially and move that higher. And that's where we were looking at in here as well, somewhere around in this area. Okay, so and then starting to target specific areas as well. All right, no questions. All right, forward. You can open up your cumulative volume delta here. I have cumulative volume delta and liquidations in the subchart here, okay, in the widget panel as well. Here come those buyers again and retest in here. There's something I want to cover here with the liquidations as well that you might find interesting. Okay, Marco. Yeah, I'll look at the Academy applicants channel in here. Yeah, guys, let me show you this. In fact, thanks for mentioning this, Marco. And I'm sorry, they're like rather busy at the moment. I'm having some issues as well with the signups. Some of you have signed up, but it didn't report in our database. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'll look into it, Marco, and I'll get back to you. Yeah, you can reach out to me. You can just DM me on in our Discord channel, okay, which would be great, because I didn't see your name in there. I checked earlier this morning, and it's not just you. There's a few. I even signed up for CMJ if you're on the webinar, and I was not able to even sign you up, and that should have worked. So I know that you signed up. We're just having a few issues in there, a couple of glitches, and getting it figured out. All right. So now what I want to cover though about this trapped volume in here, and then looking for potential squeezes above some of these ranges, and how you can profit from these in here by looking for that behavior to unfold, by understanding the trap volume. We want to also take a look at some of these liquidations in here. Really interesting stuff. So for example, look at the swing down here, 39K. Okay, now this is not a lot. Boy, I'll show you here. We can zoom out and we can look at, down here, 261K. Just when you see some big trading in here, you'll see like millions of dollars in here. It won't be hundreds of thousands. It'll be millions. It's amazing to see this. Anyway, this is what I want to cover. All right, so we have some liquidation events here on the sell side here. This means these were buyers here that are being forced to sell by the exchange. They are liquidating them, and these are their sell orders in here. Now, what happened in here, and what I want to cover, is how you can use your divergence like CVD, like we did with McLoco earlier. You can do the same here with your liquidation events. Here's a retest of this area down here, 39K, $39,000 liquidated over 8 events, /8 events. Here's a retest here. It actually made a lower low, but we only have 3K. Here's a retest here. We actually made a lower low here and here, and we have none. So what we have here is a divergence. It knocked these people out. It retested here, knocked a few more out. It retested further, and it didn't knock anybody out. All right, so these sellers now, they're feeling the pain on the opposite side. These are likely then like we had mentioned, trap volume. This is like a divergence in here. You can read it like that. It's retesting this area. It's not finding sellers, or the sellers that it is finding in here are real sellers, potentially. And then we're getting the squeeze here to the other side now. But yet we still haven't seen liquidations on the other side yet on the to see these sellers have to buy back yet. Be forced from the exchange to liquidate their shorts. All right, so that's another way to look at this and use this indicator. Continue to study and start to understand the auction process in here, and things like this will become apparent. Okay? Understanding this, retesting, and it's just not finding any liquidations. Now, let's see here. Okay, so now look how these buyers here, see how these buyers, and we didn't see liquidations, so it retested here and here. Okay, now let's just look here and let's see if we get some sellers in here now. And maybe what happens is this new range that broke out here, maybe a liquidation will happen down at the bottom of this range again down here. Okay, but we need to have sellers. So let's zoom in here and let's take a look. Okay, now guys, I'm looking at the Bitcoin USDT. This is the perpetual. It's with the multi-book product here from Bookmap Data, BMD, multi-book MB, and then at BMD, which is Bookmap Data. If you look up in the upper left-hand corner here, I'm looking at Bitcoin USDT, but for Binance Futures, Bybit, and OKEX. So looking at 3 different exchanges here. But within one consolidated instrument, okay, synthetic instrument. Right, so this is an edge in itself here, using the multi-book product in Bookmap, being able to look at 3 different exchanges. That's why you're seeing, there's a couple different reasons why you're seeing these volume dots take place outside of best bid and offer. Okay, because there's some discrepancies in price between these 3 different exchanges in here. That's one aspect. Another element in here is like the tick sizes. I'm looking at $1 per tick, which I don't recommend. It takes a lot of memory. It's better to use something like $5 or $10 per tick. But right now it's showing $1. A lot of, with crypto, you can look down at 0.0001 dollar in terms of tick size, that'll really kind of mess up everything. Anyway, it's most likely just between the 3 different exchanges, and that's why we're seeing the volume kind of scattered, but around a best bid and offer here. All right. Okay, here we go. Another retest back up here. Do we see buyers? Now, one thing about Bitcoin too is be very, very careful at the tops of these ranges and bottoms of ranges. Okay, because a lot of times what you'll get, and this is very typical because of what I mentioned before, the type of market that it is, you'll get these breakouts, they fail, they come back in, and they go to the other side of the range, they fail, and it just goes right back in the middle of the range. Okay, but knowing that, you can use that to your edge. Okay, you can look for maybe where it starts to exhaust out, where you see those sellers come in, and then trade it back down to the mean reversion trade back down into the middle of this consolidated price action. Okay, there's a white line in the bracket number. Are you talking about this in here? Bingo. 136 and then the parentheses. Yeah, okay. I have a video to show you on that. It'll probably be easier to explain it. Let me, or I want to show it to you just so you guys know where this. You might not know about the new learning center we put together. So go to bookmap.com, go to the more button here, and then go to learning center. All right, and then in here, go to the if you're new in here, you can go to each of these three element or links. We're going to go to the getting started, and then in here we're going to go to volume, and then last traded volume aggregation. Is 3 minutes long, this video, and it explains it in here what's going on. All right, I'll put this into the chat for you, and then I'll explain it as well. Right, so let's take a look. Okay, we'll zoom in. All right, so we'll probably, yeah, we'll see it in here. All right, so basically, here's a volume of 3. So this number here is an aggregate number, and this here is the last transaction, which is a volume of 3, and it's the aggressor. Okay, CVP, green dot, it's 3. So a volume of 3. Now, as we go forward, we see another transaction at the same price, and again, it is buyers, right? So now it's 12. Ooh, I'm sorry, we did get a change in here. We did get a change, right? So I'm sorry. So let's take a look again. This will demo it right here. Okay, so we have. Let me just use this feature. Okay, there we go. All right, so we have another transaction in here. Okay, 6. However, yikes, it's just not quite doing. Okay, so we have 3, and then I'm just going to zoom out, and I'm going to have to show this in terms of volume dots, all volume dots here, total volume, okay, and no filters, no clustering. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. We'll just go through it this way. This will be easier here. Okay, so in fact, what we have here is, to begin with, a volume of 1. This one here is a sell hitting the bid here, right? Okay, then we have another 2 events that took place. So it's a cumulative here. That now we have volume of 3 altogether, okay, within this time frame here, and we have the cumulative of 3, right? So now as we scroll forward though, and now 1 went out of the picture, so now it's down to 2. It's just showing what's in my viewable range here, right? And then if I go and I continue on, now it's just that last 1, and it was a sell. I need to keep these in here. All right, so here's where it changes. Here's where it changes here. So here's 3, right? They were sells. Now look, the best bid and offer changed here, right? So another transaction takes place, but it's at the same price level. So there's a volume of 4 in the cumulative. However, the number is now 1 because this is a market buy order, but it's at the same price level. And that's how this works. It's a cumulative counter within this viewable range in here. Okay, this will reset once price goes to a new price level. But it doesn't matter if it's a buy or sell, this white number will be the cumulative. That's how it works. Okay, sorry, that took a little while to find that example or to go through the example. The video is probably better. All right, let's go back to Bitcoin in here. Yeah, so anyway, I wanted to show you that the getting started course in here. I also want to show you the Academy page that was mentioned here by Marco. Okay, so guys, I'll put this into the chat as well. Please read through this. It's a great new program we just put together, basically you can get Bookmap for free. you need to, and you're going to get this. You're going to be able to improve your trading skills. You're going to network with other traders, and then you are going to get Bookmap for free if you make the requirements in here. It's an academy, right? So first step is you're going to apply to this academy, and then if you are accepted, you'll be in the Bookmap Junior Academy. You'll create content in here. You'll document your trades. You'll get some feedback on it, and some mentorship in there. If you continue or you meet the requirements in here, then you will be invited to the regular Bookmap Academy here, and that's where you'll get Global or Global Plus for free. If you double your quota, you can get also the MBO bundle or other add-ons for free. You can step it up for step 3. You can become a coach. You can become a streamer. We already have 3 different streamers that came through this way with the academy. Tom, Doug, and now Moby are all streamers that came through the Bookmap Academy. All right, so if you're interested in that and you want to apply for the Bookmap Junior Academy, apply here. All right, it's a really great program. It's a win-win for everybody, and it's going to improve your trading. All right, so anyway, yep, check that out if you like. All right, let's see what's happening in here. So we got our retest again down here, right? But we didn't break this range in here, right? We're looking for that potential. In fact, we came back up and we're breaking a new range to the upside now, right? I'm surprised we're still not seeing any liquidations in here. We should be at this point. Maybe I have my filter on a little too high. I know there are some in here. I'm just looking for a bigger event to unfold here. So you can see where we're going in here. Now we talked about this as well, 440 up here in this swing and the potential retest up into this swing up here. And this swing as well, which we've already traded through, right? So this is from reading this down here in Bitcoin. Now, what's important here is like to understand and just put these pieces together reasonably, rationally, and logically of understanding the behavior. Okay, we didn't get liquidation events. And we're seeing that this is potential trap volume, and we're looking for a squeeze, and then we're looking for targeting certain areas in here if we get our buyers, aggressive buyers, the demand at higher levels in here, and they're pulling on the offer. Okay, basically these 3 elements. You can see some really nice stuff in here. Look at the demand in here. This is what I kind of missed it or didn't cover it. But look at it right in here. In fact, let's make this heat map a lot brighter. Okay, look at the demand here. Okay, on the bid in here. We're finding some buyers in here, and it's really kind of scattered. But they're pulling over here as well. See how they're pulling right in here? See how they're adding in here? Finding some buyers, looking for this to continue higher. They're bidding up at a higher level. And then they pull and they pull here and they add down here. Now it's likely the same player because at the moment they pulled here, they added down here. Right? So there's a lot going on in the heat map that you can take away. But when you zoom in, you can see some things like this. You don't have to zoom in actually. You can even see some things on the higher time frames like we did in the stocks or the S&P. All right, any questions? Covered a lot so far, and seen some, pretty good price action in here. Buyers to continue here in Bitcoin. And let's see if we can get this a really nice. Now, one of the things about Bitcoin too is you will note this. When it starts to move, it really moves. It is just buying hand over fist, and the markets just capitulate. We could see some really big buying up into 30,500. if we get the buyers that show up. Now, we didn't already, so look, be wary here. Here we see buying, and did it trade into high liquidity? Yeah, it did in this area in here. We're not getting money buyers here. So now we're looking for buyers up here. We didn't get them. Okay, so let's see if we can get sellers back down into this area here, right here. And now let's read the order book as well. Well, they're bidding up in this area in here. So, you know, we're seeing a bit of selling here. Maybe they can trade down to here. But they're bidding up. Remember how we saw in the S&P that they actually, it was dark in here down to the bottom of the range. And that's what we're kind of looking for in here. Okay, we're getting our sellers in here, and they're kind of going after that liquidity in here. Okay, so and they pulled, in fact. So you're seeing a move back down to the bottom of the range. Okay, so we didn't really see the sellers we were looking for. Okay, we got it a little bit, but this was more convoluted or not a clean read in what we're looking for. Okay, so now we're down at the bottom of the range in here. And are we seeing a lot of demand in here? Starting to show some demand in here. Not a whole lot. There we go. There's some demand starting to follow, followed by aggressors. And look at though, we need to get these green dots in here. There they go. Okay, so now let's see if we can get our retest back to the top of the range here at 400. See how the demand's following underneath here? Okay, now we found some sellers though. And they took those guys on. Okay, and that's all it is. It just means that this demand in here, we found sellers that wanted to take the other side of the trade. Okay, and this happens all day long. Now, do we get after this event, and we talked about that at the beginning of the webinar, this could be even a very small volume event. After the event, can we get buyers back up here? Okay, if so, looks pretty good for a squeeze and a new range to be established up into our 400 level or 405. Yeah, this is minutia, but some very small moves, but we're just going through the same process here in real time. Thanks, Alois. Yeah, if you guys want, I mean, you don't have to look at best bid and offer. I like it, especially with some of these more volatile instruments. But you can turn it off, and you can just look at last trade if you want, last price. Okay. But yeah, I like to see the spread change, and I look for it. Okay, interesting. So our buyers in here, well, they made it up to 400, but that's it. Okay, they did not make it further. We're starting to see some sellers down here. Now, where are the buyers? Well, they're here. And I'm kind of looking to see now if this might be where we see these buyers here have to capitulate and be sellers down into 300. No, the bid is strong in here. See the strong bid here? Okay, so actually not looking for sellers, looking for buyers here in relationship to this bid. Let's see if we can get them and then trade back up to the top of the range. And this is range bound trading in here. And this is something JTrader talks about as well. Looking for this little hook in here. And now that hook is failing. We might get a retest and might hook again. Okay, but what it means though is that maybe you trade down into demand down here, and then it starts to kind of hook around, curl around, and then you get buyers here, and then you get the move back up to the top of the range. Okay, instead of blindly buying at bottom of the range here, okay, because you can open yourself up for potential long squeeze to the downside here. And why take the risk if you can read the volume, right? Yeah, here come the sellers. Okay, sellers should be able to move it back down to the 300 here, 310, 300. Okay, this is why. Same answer as before. Why do you guys think we're looking for that move? 310, 300, maybe even lower, maybe back down into our lower range down here. What do you guys think? Okay, we have the potential for it. Doesn't have to happen, but we have good potential here. No, not heat map, bingo. It's because of the longs up here. Okay, we found our trap. This will be fuel. Whoops, sorry. This is potential fuel here for the move down into here. Okay, so we're identifying these players in here and then looking for that potential move. Now we don't know, right? But we're gonna read it here. You can see that there's quite a bit of liquidity right here already. This is a battle right here, and we don't know the victor yet of this battle. Okay, high liquidity there at 350, right? Now sellers coming in. All right, so not enough buyers, sellers coming in. All right, so looks like the victor here is the sellers, and we look for this move to unwind. Okay, it's testing the low again. And another retest here, and looking for our sellers again, and for them to hit into 310. Okay. Now we don't know, right? We don't know. This is where we have to use risk management. Okay, we look for it. We read this behavior in here. This behavior can change at any time, though. Okay, and things are completely upended at that time. Okay, but at least at this point, this is what we knew, and we logically went through it, and we kind of understood where there might be buyers here that will be sellers down here, we just, that's the strategy, and just looking for now this move to unwind. And if it doesn't, you take your stop loss and move to the next trade. Okay, wait for the next setup after that. Okay, again, it is not one individual trade that you're looking for here. You're looking for hundreds, thousands. Okay, like the with JTrader, the webinar that we had, Pro Trader webinar we had on Wednesday, and his strategies, he's seen it thousands of times, and he's documented. He has numbers around them, right? So he knows, and he just plays his game. He doesn't care about what the market is doing. He's just looking for his setup, and then if his setup unfolds or starts to present, he takes the trade. That's it. And then he just manages it. If he gets stopped out, he cuts his trade immediately. He always talks about that. and then you look for the next trade. Okay, so now so our move is starting to work out, right? And I just can't believe it here that we have not seen any big liquidations yet. So still looking and waiting and watching for that. It might be all of these buyers up in here that have to turn into sellers down here. We're kind of front running the indicator, in fact. Nice slowdown. You've really been making some really nice work. Yeah, guys, slowdown was in the book is in the Bookmap Academy now, right? So it is this kind of work that brought him there. He was in the Junior Academy last month. He is now in the Bookmap Academy, and he's getting Bookmap for free, and he's getting the MBO bundle for free. You will today slow down. I'll enable it for you. But look at this. It's just beautiful stuff. It's picture perfect. Price makes a new high of day in here. Okay, heavy liquidity on the bid. Liquidity absorbed in here, stays in the order book. Okay, buyers start to come back up above. They're pulling liquidity in here. There's a flip of the order book in here, okay, that they pulled in here and then added from the offer to the bid, and then looking for the next level of liquidity to transact. This is just beautiful stuff. Now, it is this kind of documentation. Now, this is top notch. Okay, Jack, Stan, others, you guys are making just top notch quality content, and this is what we're looking for. Now, I mean, the question is, did this help your trading? Doing this. Now, you're not doing it for me. You're doing it for you. You need to communicate it to others, and you need to very clearly be able to communicate it to others that this is objective, right? But doing this kind of activity in here, you're going to become a much better trader. You're going to know exactly what you're looking for. Okay, you're going to start to read this hard right edge in here. See how he's reading it right here? And he's thinking, wow, okay, based off of this, I'm looking for it to trade here, right? Because he's gone through all of this in here. Sorry, slow down. I don't want to embarrass you, but I mean, it really is. It's top notch. It's just excellent stuff. It's very, very clear and very helpful for not only yourself, but for others. This is a win-win, guys. It's all a part of that academy if you're interested in that. So apply to the academy here. And we're also going to have some competitions this year. So through the academies as well, right? So this is another thing you'll be able to really learn about your trading strategies and style through others and through the competition. All right. All right, so we were looking for that drop down in here. It's kind of gone back and forth, but take a look at it here. It dropped below this range that we talked about. It retested this range here, and now we're getting our sellers. We should get the move here. And now we never know, and I shouldn't say that, but we're looking for sellers in here to push into 300. Okay, originally we wanted 310, and that did not transact either. Okay, so yeah, they're really not here in 310 a little bit. Okay, looking for these sellers to push into 310 and 300 here. Let's see. Garrick, yeah, okay, so below 3,800 on the ES, March low, where rates were 5%. We'll jump back and look at the ES here. We just seen some good stuff here in Bitcoin as well, and there were some questions that some other users had, so I wanted to cover it. Guys, here it's just looking like it really wants to dump into 300 here. Now, we're just trying to get a feel for it here. And Bitcoin's a little bit tougher. I mean, the ES, or for sure the Nasdaq, would have already traded down there. Bitcoin kind of captures some traders and then kind of squeezes and then does it again, etc. But yeah, we're still looking for this move into 300 basically. Okay, I don't see many sellers in here yet, but that would be what we're looking for in here. Okay, let's make the dot. See how the dot size here? We can see that yeah, there's some selling, there's some buying in here. Want to see the sellers come in and dominate though, and push it into the 300. More questions here. Let's see. Would liquidation of buyers show up as aggressive sell orders? There, yeah, they would show up as aggressive sell orders, but we know that they are liquidations. Yeah, when the exchange they just liquidate your account. Right. So you guys see what we're talking about in here. We wanted to really see those sellers in here. This is a better view. Instead, we're starting to see a bit of buying in here, and then right in here, this is really where we need to see those sellers. We got a few here, but now see how they're going to get squeezed in here. Okay, this is why buying at the bottom edge in here for a breakdown in some of these coins is challenging, very challenging. They almost always squeeze again. Almost always see them move back up, a squeeze and a break above the range up here, and then a failure, and then the move to 300. Okay, but knowing that information, you can profit from it. Okay, so yeah, look for those buyers to start that squeeze process in here, and then maybe take some off at the top of the range. These are potential strategies to look into for this instrument. Okay, or for all instruments, but it happens more frequently here in Bitcoin. Right? Some of the selling, this looked really good to me. It really did. I thought we'd have the dump right here, right in here. Seeing them starting to wind up right here, the sellers, and a little bit more in here. This looks just great. And then we got buying, countered it. And we got a little bit more selling in here, and then buyers came in and moved it back up here. Now, this is what we were just talking about. The move back up to the top of the range. I'm even looking for maybe a spike above it, failure, and then 300. They didn't make it quite up to the top of the range here. And then let's see if we get our sellers now to move it back down into. Well, you sell limit orders. Yeah, bingo, you see them right here. They're down here at 300. Absolutely. That's what Bookmap is showing you here in the liquidity. But yeah, I mean, a liquidation, it's going to be automatic from the exchange. They're just going to liquidate your position. Close your position, liquidate your account. No, so you're looking at a stop sell. Yeah, you're not going to see that in the book, right? Yeah, once it is touched, it will transact. Okay. Yeah. Again, these may sound like some details in here, but it's not. It's just this is what makes up the market. Okay, these types of orders and this kind of behavior, and here's what we're looking at. Look at this gaming in here. This is interesting stuff. Bitcoin does some funny things in here. You can see them chasing down underneath with high liquidity underneath here, the algo, an algo coming in here, and now an algo on the other side pushing it back up into this one here. But they just flipped, and you're going to see some kind of behavior, some nasty behavior here more frequently in Bitcoin. Okay, all of a sudden high liquidity on the offer here. Buyers are interested. I do not see the transactions take place though. I see some here, but I don't see any here. Likely pulled, I imagine. Yeah, and that's it. We're just there, you know, we see players gaming this top edge in here. All right, let's see. Guys, if you like this video, please hit the like button. Covered a lot of different things in here. And that really helps us. So yeah, just hit the like button, and we'll continue to go over more like this. Or please put your suggestions in the chat. What more would you like to take a look at? What more would you like to see? Interesting. Can't get down to 300. Look at now we're starting to see those buyers come in. Now this whole kind of edge here has been gamed, like we were just noticing in here, and then now we're starting to see some pretty heavy buying. Now I'm staying away from this one in here. This was our original scenario. We were looking for it here, was a move above it, a move back down below it, and then 300, which still might unfold. Okay, but it's a little harder to read now, and there's a reason for this right now. Why this is a little harder to read at the moment, and the reason being is that we're very close here to the European close. Okay, so we're going to get some volatility that is kind of shaking the markets up here, right? So it's a harder read. It's like at 4 p.m. here in the East Coast in the stock market. Very hard to read a lot of times. Not always, but a lot of times. Lots of players doing many different actions, a lot of different behavior here due to the close of the market. Okay, so this is kind of a muted one, but it is the European close, right? So during times like that, you might not want to trade, or unless you see something really clear that's hitting you over the head, then you're pretty sure about your direction and what you're looking at. But understanding your time of day and when you're looking for more probable moves to unfold than not. All right, well, thanks everybody. Thanks. Hit the like button, please. We'll wrap it up. We'll call it a day. And good stuff in here. Great holiday we had earlier here in the week for Monday and Tuesday. It was nice to take some time off. We're back in the markets though. Next week I will be away, so we'll have the rest of our streamers. Let me show you again. Go back to the Learning Center here through the More button, Learning Center, and then click on Join Free Live Events down here, and then we can just click the week ahead here, and I need to take my events off in here. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday I will be away, but the rest will be in here. Okay, so we have all sorts of events in here, as you guys can see every day. In fact, let's take a look at our lineup here. Tom B, he'll be in a few more minutes looking at ES futures. Then right after that we have Frank Morero with Spanglish Trades. He'll be next after that at 1 p.m. And then at 1:30 we'll have Doug and Options with Doug. He's going to go through his strategies for stocks and futures, looking at options. It is excellent stuff, guys. All of these are excellent. So we have, and right after that we have the Algo Boys. They will be in Discord only, but from 2:30 to 4 p.m. we have the Algo Boys. So anyway, hit the like button, please. That tells us that you like this. I will take one last look at the ES in here, and let me go back to the volume displays. All right, and it is. Boy, we didn't miss much in the ES. I'll tell you that. It's just really range bound after that non-farm in here. Okay, so yeah, this is actually good that we covered something else, to be honest. Again, same ideas, same concepts though, guys. Like high liquidity up in here, but we're still seeing buying activity, right? I mean, we had this kind of move here in a bit of a stop run, but we're back up here and we're still seeing buyers here. So can they break out? Now you can start to look at your cup and handle patterns in here. This is what makes up your cup and handle patterns. It is the behavior and the liquidity and the transactions in the price action. There's got to be a lot of buying that wants to trade into and through this 450 liquidity here. And I don't see it right now. They seem pretty firm that they want to be sellers in here. Okay, so at the moment, now we don't know, maybe this all changes, maybe they pull that liquidity. And then this pattern will unfold. Okay, but we'll see here. We're getting our buyers in here. But let's suppose they stay in the order book in here, trade, they can't get through it. Sellers come in and this cup and handle pattern will fail. We'll see a likelihood the move down to 44 and then 40 down in here. All right, guys, thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will catch up with you not next week, but the week after. All right, hit the like button, please, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.